Hey guys, this is GamerCow. Welcome to another Duelyst video. The Unearthed Prophecy expansion is kind of a thing now. I didn't exactly get the greatest sleep last night because I was kind of waiting for this. The problem with the developers being Pacific time is kind of far ahead of me, but that's neither here nor there. There's a lot of cards in this expansion. The previous two have been like 39 card expansions. They've been pretty small stuff. This one, absolutely gigantic. Like over 90 cards in this one, so I think it would take a little bit too long for me to just do a full-on set review type thing at the moment, and there are plenty of way better people that do that. I'd be more focused on some of the interesting stuff that I could do with it. So instead, I have, you know, like 50 odd orbs I want to open anyway, and I've opened a few before because I had some from gold and whatnot, but I've kind of bought these ones because I really want to see some of the cards in here. And this is a traditional expansion, so it has to be crafting with spirit, buying the orbs and all that fun stuff. So I have a bunch of orbs, and I figured I'm just going to open them up and then talk about the cards that I get. So for now, sorry, it won't be a complete review of the set, but maybe if you wanted, we could do that at some stage. I have a feeling that's probably going to end up coming out when I try and craft the stuff though. So, let's just get started here. And not a great beginning on the rarity, but that's fine. I've had quite a few legendaries already from this set, so it's sort of interesting. Right, so, out of this pack, the most impactful card for me is probably the Wild Tar. I'm not sure how well this one's going to go, but I figured Songhai is probably going to be able to make quite good use of this card because they have stuff like Juxtaposition, Miss Dragon Seal to run with, and this card really benefits a lot from movement position stuff. It could also work in Abyssian with the Nebameld card that they got to transport minions to Shadow Creep spaces, but basically having Frenzy is really nice. You can kill everything around it, and if your opponent damages you at all in the previous turn, then it's like a 5/4 Frenzy that you could teleport somewhere with Miss Dragon Seal and just kill everything. So that's kind of cool. The other good card here, as unassuming as it seems, is this Carcinus card, I guess it's called. I don't know exactly how you're supposed to pronounce all of these things, of course, but, you know, that's how I would say it. It seems unassuming, right? Because it's just a 2-mana 1/5, but, you know, the 1 attack is kind of bad, but 5 health survives like everything. This thing survives Lava Slasher, which is kind of ridiculous. So, I don't know, I think it's actually pretty good. I don't know where you would use it, maybe in a Swarm deck, if you can fit it in, because the 5 health could be really good for someone like Deathfire Crescendo. Good target for that. But I don't know if you've got deck space to put it in. But otherwise, it's just a generally really good Gauntlet card too. Otherwise, Vesperian Might is overpriced. Skull Prophet is using the new Sentinel effect here. So as it says, it summons a 3/3 with no abilities, but then when your opponent does this action, which is in this case their general attacks, it's either their general attacks, they summon a minion, or they play a spell. And you get different effects based on the Sentinel that you have. So this one, when the enemy general attacks, this transforms and then gives their general -1 attack. So it could be kind of good as a, you know, block to what your opponent thinks is going to be a favorable trade. Say they're trading into a 3 health minion with, not even a 3 health, probably a 4 health minion, like with a 2-drop and their general, and suddenly you play Skull Prophet down, or they trigger Skull Prophet and they're 1 damage short of killing the minion, so you get to do stuff with it next turn. Kind of okay. Fate Watcher, don't really see much for this at all. Too expensive, and it only works when your opponent draws a card, which is probably most of the time that's going to happen at the end of their turn. Vitruvian doesn't really have any ways of making the opponent draw cards. If this was in Magmar, then maybe, but it's not, so personally it's pretty terrible. So there we go. And just terrible off the next pack as well. That's fine. Rarity's kind of weird with stuff. There's some okay stuff here. I mean, this is really good actually. This is my third copy of this. This is one of the Songhai Sentinels here, where every time the opponent casts a spell, you put a copy of it into your hand. That's nuts. I mean, even if it dies to the spell that's played, say if they Phoenix Fire it or something, that's crazy. That works on everything. And it also works on their, what do they call it now, Bloodbound spells? It was Bloodborne spell, and we'll probably still call it that, to be honest, but because of... That's something I haven't talked about, actually. Bandai Namco actually invested in the company, if you will. They're the official publisher for this game now, and so because of legal reasons, a few card names had to be changed. So, you know, Bloodborne spell is now Bloodbound spell, I think it was. So it counts those as well. Basically, hero powers get copied with this, and that's really, really good. So, absolutely amazing card. Songhai tends to run out of cards quite quickly, and this is just amazingly good for increasing their hand size again, with spells that they can use as well. Really, really solid. Phantasm is also really good. It only has 2 health, so you need to play it out the way, but basically every minion your opponent summons just gives a minion in your hand plus 2 attack. Save that Spectral Revenant at the start of the game, and you'll have like a 12, 15, you know, whatever, like a freaking 15 attack rush or whatever. It's not 15 because it's an odd number. It's like 12, 14, 16, something like that. You could stack ridiculously. It is random, but that's still really good. Pureblade Enforcer is kind of shite though, if I'm being honest with you. It's too weak as a 1-3, and if your opponent casts a spell 1-1, yeah, sure, whatever. It can be a 2-4 if the opponent casts a spell at the start of the game, but that's not gonna happen. If you play this down on turn 1, you're gonna get Saber Spined, or like 2-drop Natural Selection, something like that. If you play this down later in the game, it's either just not going to make any impact, or it's going to get removed. And Lionar's got Windblade Adept as a 3-3 or a 2-3 if it's not next to your general. They've got Azurite Lion, which is a 2-3 Celerity, moves twice per turn. They've got way too many good 2-drops already for something like this to make an impact. So, yeah. And I didn't really mention Vesper and Might before. This is really good Vesper support, but it's 5 mana, which is way too expensive. Needed to be 4 mana, I think, for that effect to actually see play. Maybe I'm over-judging it, I don't know. So I only got 2 rares this time, so nothing super great out of the first things that way. Fuck this card. That's all I can say right now for that. I did want Lava Storm Obelisk, so really good stuff out of this one. So yeah, this card. Magmar card, 3 mana, 2/8. It's vanilla, but fuck this card. I don't understand what the hell they were thinking making this card. This almost single-handedly removes like all the good stuff that this set made, because Magmar's already really, really strong. They don't need a free drop. They have Ragebinder, which is very good. It's a 3/4 rebirth, so it's a sticky minion. Like if it dies, it summons a 0/1 egg, which you have to remove in the same turn. Otherwise, it just respawns. And yeah, but this is 1 less attack and no rebirth, but plus 4 health. Yeah, fuck this card. It's stupid. Lava Storm Obelisk is someone I'm really interested in playing, actually. Summon Dervish, as it says there, is the same as the other obelisk that came before it. You summon a 2/2 rush Dervish that disappears at the end of the turn, and it's only got 4 health. Most obelisks have 6 health, so that's a bit of a downgrade. But you play this down on turn 1, and your opponent can't take the center row at all. Like, they can't take the center tile. It's just kind of stupid. 6 damage to all enemy minions in the same row as it. It's potentially very oppressive, but it could also be removed quite easily, I think. If you can play around it, which is good, but it definitely limits your game plan for the start, which is pretty fun. Another Vitruvian here, Duskweaver. I don't know what to think about this card. I think it's good, but the stat line leaves a lot to be desired. It dies to mana Death Grip, which is really bad. It doesn't trade with Saberspine Tiger, which can be pretty bad turn 1. but the Scion's wishes are really good. So first wish is a 1 mana 1/1 cantrip that draw a card and give a minion +1/+1. Second wish is a 2 mana +2/+2 that makes your minion unable to be damaged by the enemy general, so that's really good for provoke stuff. And third wish is a dervish specific buff that gives +3/+3 and flying to a dervish for 3 mana. If you get that, that's amazing because that's a legendary, so really cool. Yeah, strong card. I don't know if it's going to see a ton of play, but it does have some pretty neat synergies which are good. Then we got two Vanna cards here. Crystal Arbiter is very good actually. I think this card is stupidly strong. It's a 2 mana 1/4, which is a pretty good start line by itself. It doesn't die to Saberspine Tiger, but it actually trades with Saberspine, which, for those who are uninitiated, Saberspine's a neutral 3 mana 3/2 rush. So it's basically a 3 damage minion like attack source. So that's a lot of stuff. Because the second player gets 3 mana on their first turn, if you play like Duskweaver, then they can play Saberspine on their first turn and have it not die. So it's kind of important to keep that sort of thing in mind. That's why most 2-drops that are played are 2/3, or, you know, at least 2 health. But this thing becomes a 4/4 on your opponent's turn. And it's a Vesper, so it synergizes with Frostfire to make it ridiculously strong. 4 mana, like 4/7, that's a 7/7 on the opponent's turn. Believe Hearthstone had that problem of 4 mana 7/7, right? Well, slightly different, but you know. This has a lot of potential to be really good, but I don't know where the hell it fits in. Like, I don't know what kind of card this really is. I guess it's a Storly type card, which kind of works out, but I don't know. Speaking of Vanna, they have a really good Sentinel setup, and yeah, if the opponent plays a spell, this transforms from the 3/3 into a 5/5. And every time the opponent plays a spell, this gains 3/3. This can get out of hand very quickly. The only catch is that it doesn't have flying, but Vanna has Half Sister, so they can just teleport this in whenever they want. Really good card. The only catch is that the opponent has to trigger it, but then Vanna's other Sentinels are pretty good too, so it will get triggered. It's a strong card. So then we have another shite pack. Okay, that's kind of unfortunate, but that's the way things go. Alright, well, I say it's a shite pack, but there's actually quite a few good cards in here. That's just the nature of it. Commons and rares can be good too. Komodo Hunter, ridiculous stats on this thing. A 3 mana 5/6 is like, what the hell? This is 5-drop status, right? This is stronger than Hailstone Golem, and that's like the premier 4-drop in terms of stats. So absolutely nuts on that. But you give your opponent 2 1/3s next to their general. There are some synergies that you can play with this. This synergizes with Phantasm, for example, because it summons a minion for the opponent, so you get the buff to something in your hand. That can be really fun. It synergizes with Thunderhorn, but I don't know if we'll see that, but that can do AoE type damage. And if you're going to be able to clear the board anyway, like play this and then play Frostburn with Vanna, you get a 5/6 and you kill all the opponent's stuff still. Pretty good. I don't know, I like it, but I don't think it's going to see play in a ton of decks unless it's dedicated to the idea. Super good in Keep of After with resummon stuff. Blood Rage, it's shite. I don't see any use for this really. Friendly minion +1/+1 for each time damage was dealt this turn. I mean, I guess it's not the worst thing ever, it's just massively overpriced. So if you play like Flameblood Warlock, do 3 damage to both enemy generals, then that gives this becomes a Greater Fortitude, which is 1 mana. You then need to hit, like, well, if you hit something with, say, your general and the counterattack happens, that's another +2/+2. You basically need to have that happen about 3 times to make this worth it. I mean, if you play it twice, then it's a +4/+4 for 4 mana, which I guess is pretty okay. Thumping Wave still hits +5 attack though, so that's still better. I don't know. I don't like this card in the slightest. I think it's really quite bad, but I'm sure somebody's going to make it work. Then you got whatever the hell this thing's called, Zeroloth, I guess. This is another Abyssian Sentinel. that whenever the opponent casts a spell, you put a 2 mana 4/4 token into your action bar. So yeah, 2 mana 4/4 is obviously really strong, but the 2 health means it's just gonna die too quickly, I think. I don't know, I want to see this work, but I don't think it's good enough, to be honest, not compared to some of the other Sentinel stuff. But then again, it's probably still better than the Skull Prophet one, so I don't know. Reassemble, this is very exciting if you play Obelisk Vitruvian. I personally prefer the Golem Vitruvian, but I think I want to definitely try the Obelisk one out here. So, one of the biggest weaknesses of Obelisks is Dispel. If an Obelisk gets Dispelled, then it becomes basically worthless. It's a Whispers of the Sand target, and that's about it. This thing, for 2 mana, you get to basically replace your Obelisk. Replace it down on the board too, so you can reposition it with this. So get wrecked, stone to spears, that's kind of useless now. And you draw a card for it, so it's a cantrip as well. Very strong card. You do need hand space for it, which can be a problem sometimes, but yeah, really good. The only thing is you can't play this card without having an Obelisk on the board. So it's not quite like Whispers of the Sand, where in desperation you can just cantrip it for 2 mana. This you actually have to have something on the board first. So if you get Plasma Storm, this is not going to help you recover. But I do think this is very good, especially with one of the other Obelisk in this set, the legendary one. Very good. And then we got Choker Tendrils. Oh, I don't like this card. I mean, it's good. It's really good, but I don't like this card. So, Abyssian has got a 1 mana card, Sphere of Darkness, which draws a card and puts a Shadow Creep tile down somewhere. And you can put a Shadow Creep down under any enemy, and then for 2 mana just destroy it outright. I don't like it. I don't know, I think this card is ridiculous. I just don't know how you're going to fit it into decks. With this, with Punish, there's so much removal for it. It's absolutely insane. But hey, that's just how it goes. Good to see common removal though, so that's craftable for everyone. Wow, really nothing rare at the moment. It's kind of a thing. Well, we do have, this is kind of cool, another Lava Storm. So I have a prismatic one of these too, so I have 3 of these now, which is really good. Probably going to get a ton more as we go, but hey. This card is super interesting. So it's a 1 mana delayed cantrip that deals 1 damage to any minion. The any minion part is good because you can trigger your own effects from this. Lantern Fox, whenever it gets damaged, you put a Phoenix Fire, which is deal 3 to anything for 2 mana. You put one of those into your hand. Battle Pando is, whenever it takes damage, you do 1 damage to everything on the field, on the enemy's field, I should say, and you can combine that with Death Strike Seal to be a board wipe for 6 mana. Kind of expensive, but really good. I don't know. And then the draw card at end of turn, that's kind of Songhai's thing. They're a combo faction, so it's hard to give them cards that draw immediately. I think it's good. I think this will definitely see play, but it might not see play in everything. We'll have to see. Free Blade is really good. This is when, for Vanar, when the enemy summons a minion, this becomes a 3/5 instead of a 3/3, and switches places with that minion. So that can mess up a lot of plans, and the 3/5 stat line is very strong. That's hard to kill for a lot of the time. So if you play this down at the start and the opponent plays, I don't know, like, even if you're playing, say, Vitruvian, if you play this down, it just gets switched with the 2 here, and then this gets really out of place, and definitely not where you want it. So, kinda cool. And then the equivalent for Songhai is a 2/5, so not quite as strong, but it has flying, so it can move anywhere on the board, and it has backstab. So this is kind of like a cheaper Scarlet Viper, which is a 5 mana 2/5 that has 4 backstab and flying. This only has 2 backstab, but it only costs 3 mana. And yeah, it's really good. You can combine this with a bunch of stuff, and Inner Focus is really good with this, that you can reactivate it and just get a ton of damage off. So I think this is really strong. The 5 health is a good breakpoint, because again, doesn't die to Lava Slasher that does 4 damage. So that's kind of a theme of a lot of the good cards of this set. They don't die to Lava Slasher immediately. Wow. So we have opened 6 packs and we have got nothing but rares here. It's kind of a shame. Sanctity is kind of cool, and oh, we got Fortified Assault too. So this is another like Lionar theme here. Lionar has a tile, so Lionar, Vitruvian, and Magma have tiles, whereas the Abyssian, Songhai, and Vanar have Sentinels instead. So the tile for Lionar here heals 1 health to friendly minions and generals that are standing on said tile at the end of the turn. So for 1 mana, you get to give a +1/+1 buff and also put a healing tile down underneath that minion, which is okay. I mean, it's a generator for Hallowed Ground, that's the main thing, because Fortified Assault definitely wants you to have a lot of Hallowed Ground down. So you put Hallowed Ground under 1 enemy, and then do 1 damage to it for every Hallowed Ground that you have. This includes the one that you put down from what I saw on the stream. So if you had 5 tiles down and then you play this, this is a deal 6 damage to a minion for 1 mana, and put another tile down. It's very, very strong. You might want to play this with Alcuin Loremaster so that you can get more copies of it. Or Loreweaver would be pretty fun with this. I don't know. It has a lot of potential, but we'll just have to wait and see if the Hallowed Ground is actually good enough to make it work. So maybe something more than a rare this time? That'd be nice. There we go, there's a legendary. So let's just see what the other stuff is here. This card is also potentially really good. Rocodoptera. I don't know. It's 3 mana 2 freeze is pretty weak. That's 2-drop status, but it gives you a 0 mana deal 1 damage to an enemy minion spell card. So this synergizes with all the Arcanist stuff that's about whenever a spell is cast do effect. That's really strong. So this card will be good if Arcanist is still good. And even if not, Songhai can probably make good use of this. They've got a couple of cards that'll make it work, so kinda good. And then you have Arid Unmaking, which is kind of a synergy with Duskweaver. Destroy a friendly minion, turn its space into Exhuming Sand. This works well with Dying Wish effects, and the Exhuming Sand is the Vitruvian tile that basically whenever you summon a minion, you summon a Poop Dervish, a 2/2 Iron Dervish, on any Exhuming Sand tile that you have. Easily probably the swarmiest of tiles for sure, but easily one of the stronger tiles. It's hard to generate these things, so this will probably be relatively good in niche decks for that purpose. I could see this seeing a lot of play, but it has to be in a specific build for it to work. Maybe stuff like Jaxi and the Duskweaver and stuff could make this, Dying Wish decks will work. And then we have ourselves, I actually wanted one of these. Okay, so Hallowed Ground generation is not that difficult, but is difficult enough that something like this could really work. Lionar's removal tools are pretty tricky to use at the moment, so this is definitely something that I would appreciate. It's 7 mana, which is most of your turn. That's kind of a problem, but all minions in a 3x3 area get destroyed, and their spaces go to Hallowed Ground. The Hallowed Ground part is a bit of a whatever in comparison to destroying everything in a 3x3 area. That's like, wow, that's really, really strong. As a 7 mana, just nuke like up to 9 minions, yeah. And it's anywhere on the board, it's not limited to nearby your general or, whatever, so excellent card. I definitely want to see this in a couple of decks. It does destroy your own minions as well, so you do have to position around it quite nicely, but even then I would take destroying stuff like the Altus in order to get effects off. I love the idea of this card, and yeah, glad to have one. Probably don't want 3 of it though. Oh, I didn't talk about Vast Brutality there actually, I probably should have. It's shite. Stun a minion, give you a general +1 attack. That is a permanent buff, but it's still pretty shite. Alright, so the only new card in here is the minion summoned Songhai Sentinel, which, it's okay. Like, a 3 mana 3/4 is acceptable stats, and dealing 2 damage to whatever your opponent summoned to transform this, it's alright. This Yeah, it could see some play. It could also be manipulated though. If your opponent has stuff like Lantern Fox, then they might be able to actually take advantage of them being damaged. Juggernaut could also be a thing. Like there's ways that the opponent could take advantage of this in certain decks, but it's still pretty okay. I don't know if I'll play it, but it's definitely worth considering. Minion damage is always nice, puts things into threshold tiers a bit more. Another pack that has nothing. Oh, we haven't seen some of these cards though. I actually kind of wanted this too. Right, so Blinding Snowstorm, 4 mana, 1 damage to all enemies, and then they can only move 1 space next turn. Okay, I think it's a bit overcosted, but I think it also has to be overcosted because if this was 3 mana, that would be a little bit insane. You can use this as an escape tool, which is good. And I guess this might override other effects like Elex Stormblade or Golden Justicar. I'd have to see how that activates, but it might override like movement stuff that way. I think it also nukes flying a little bit too by that, you know, because flying lets you move anywhere on the board, but this basically says you can only move 1 space, so I think it's like a soft flying counter too, in case that ever gets big, I guess. Inkling Surge seems really quite good. Apparently you can like airdrop this Wraithling, so it summons anywhere on the board, because I guess it doesn't say like nearby your general or nearby anything that way, but I'm not entirely sure about that, because I think Gravity Well and other such wall type stuff also doesn't say that. But if it can airdrop, that'd be really strong, because you could just summon this on, or you could use this on turn 1 to take the mana tile that the opponent has, the player 2 has, and still summon the 2-drop. It's situational cantrip, but if you use this with Lilith, her Bloodborne spell summons Wraithlings, so you could use this as a cantrip with her BBS. I don't know. I've already called it Bloodborne and it's supposed to be Bloodband, there you go. That's just how ingrained it is. And anyway, that's not the point because we have Mana Shaper here as well. Potentially good for Sage. It seems like it would be quite a good counter to Songhai, because Songhai's artifact stuff like Bangle of Blinding Strike, Crescent Spear, Cyclomask, they already see quite a lot of play. They've got a new artifact that might see some play. And in general, artifact stuff could be quite good. But if the opponent doesn't play them, it's still a 5/4 for 4, which is not the worst stats ever. I don't know. I think it has the potential to be okay. We'll see though. I don't know if many decks are going to dedicate a slot to this, but I could see this being a really good sideboard card for tournaments. You know, where you don't know beforehand whether it's going to be useful or not, but when you see what the opponent's playing, could be really strong. Alright, there we go. Legendary out of this one, so we'll just see what the other cards are first, see if there's any new ones. There is. Castle of Skullbeast. It's shite, let's be honest. Whenever you cast a spell, deal 1 damage to all minions. This includes itself and it includes all your other stuff. There are a couple of minor synergies you could play, like Earth Sister Togedi kind of synergizes with it a little bit, because then it has a 1 damage AoE, but it's not good. I don't see any reason why you would play this over Magmar's other ridiculous free drops at this point. So, what is our legendary here? It is the Songhai artifact I was talking about. I personally don't like this card, actually, but I have a feeling that I'm underrating it something fierce. So, your general gains 1 attack. Songhai can't really have artifacts that gain more than 1 attack because of the rest of their burst potential type stuff, and they have celerity on an artifact, so that's to be expected. Your general may move an additional space. So if you thought that it was really annoying to catch a double action Songhai before, this just makes it practically impossible. They can move potentially 6 spaces in 1 turn with this and Bangle of Blinding Strike. Combine that with Cyclomask if you can get all 3 going, and that's really rough, because that's like 6 range damage every turn. There are ways that this works. I'm not sure on it though, because I don't think it's worth it over Crescent Spear. Crescent Spear is only 1 mana for the +1 attack, but you get +1 spell damage, which honestly I think is better because you can play Silhouette Tracer, like the 4 mana 2/6 minion, to teleport your general spaces, and if you really want that sort of effect, like the movement effect, you could play Mistwalking as well and move 2 spaces for a 1 mana spell. I don't know, I don't see it being a staple, but I might try 1 copy of it in a Bangor High. We'll see if that works out. You know, I wouldn't craft it, but we'll see if it actually works out otherwise. 3 rares is kind of okay. We'll see if is there any new ones? There's a Prismatic. Okay, this is actually a couple of new ones. So Warp Up, absolutely adorable. 1/1 doesn't seem very good for 2 mana, but it's got Force Field, so it has a Divine Shield every turn. You don't get damaged the first time it would, and it's got Frenzy. So this card is excellent if you play Gross Synergy, which the Magmar tile does, so hopefully we'll see some of that at some point. Very nice. I actually have a Prismatic one of these already, so it's kind of cute. 2 mana, summon a Wraithling behind each enemy. So it's kind of like a reverse Star's Fury for 3 less mana, but it's 1/1s that don't have Rush. There are ways that this works, but I don't think it's amazing. We'll have to see. I think Swarm already has a lot of stuff that they'd want to play, but maybe you could play this over Wraithling Swarm. But I don't know, it seems more like an anti-Swarm card that is in a Swarm deck. Seems a bit weird. There are ways that you can work this, but I don't know if it's actually going to see play. Because I don't have the cards to do Swarm myself at the moment, sadly. I need Deatheye Crescendo. Yo, that's a pretty good pack. Alright, so that makes up for some of the other ones that we haven't had here. There's the Vast Brutality card that I sort of mentioned before. Stun an enemy minion and give you a general +1 attack. That attack is permanent, and the stun is okay, but it's not stun an enemy, so you can't stun the general with it. It just doesn't seem that good. It's the one use for this though is Starhorn with Thumping Wave. So Thumping Wave is a card that like transforms one of your enemy minions or the minion that is affected by it into a 3/3 battle pet, and that means that Starhorn can't kill it in one shot. So that can get problematic. Like Thumping Wave is kind of hard for Starhorn to use, but if you use Vast Brutality, then Starhorn gets free attack and can trade with the kin a bit easier. So that's like the one use that I see for this card. You've then got Emberworm. I think this is going to be fantastic for Gauntlet, but I don't see it being great in standard stuff. That said, if you can ever get a Skywing deck to work, this would be crazy. 10-7 is stupid stats. 7 health is enough, to be honest. 7 mana is expensive, but the flying means it can just teleport anywhere. So, I don't know. I see this being, yeah, great for Gauntlet because you can't run away from it, but I don't know if it's going to see play otherwise. So let's see what our legendaries are. It's shite. Okay, so Vanar artifact that whenever your general damages an enemy, it teleports them to your side of the field. Meh. That's all I can really say. So this set didn't really give anything that works on your side. You've got Avalanche, which does 4 damage to everything on your side and stuns them, but that, you know, it's a base card that doesn't really see any play. Infiltrate is like Vanar's main thing that works on the enemy side, so it doesn't even work with this, and I don't know, I don't see it. Maybe if you play this with Concealing Shroud you could do some silly stuff, but I can't see this being any use. This is dust fodder to me. It's that sort of bad. And another Unbounded Emerald. Okay, unfortunately we got another copy of this, but hey, I'll take the spirit so I can craft the other stuff I want later. That's all I can say for it. And we are going to get to open the back. A bit of lag on that there. I got an epic for a change. That's different rarity. It's always good. It's a good pack otherwise. Do we have anything new out of these? We do. Sinister Silhouette. 2 mana 1/2 cannot be attacked. It kind of dies to spells really easily. Just gets dispelled. Vitruvian could make this work with Cosmic Flash, which is a 2 mana +1/+3 and provoke spell. so that could make this really annoying because you can't attack it and you can't run away from provoke, so that'd be cool. But then it just gets dispelled and you lose it anyway. I don't know. Good for contesting tiles at the start, I guess. We'll see if it sees play. Be an interesting one if it does. This is quite good though, I think. This isn't something that slots into many Songhai decks at the moment, but like a Mask of Shadows type Bangohai could see play with this. Teleport your general to a space behind an enemy. So obviously this works with Backstab, Obscuring Blow, and what's its face? Yeah, Mask of Shadows are really strong with this. And you could teleport behind any enemy. So it can be a general, or it could be a minion that's like really far out the way. I like this card a lot. It's expensive at 3 mana, but I think for this sort of effect it needs to be. And yeah, I don't know, I want to try this out. Because I do have a couple of Mask of Shadows, so I could build that deck. Alright, another epic, pretty good. So we're starting to get some decent cards out of this now. This is a really good one that I wanted to speak about at some point, so glad to see that come up. Another Mind Cage. I think I have all of these already, so that's fine. Yeah, Razor Crag Golem. I want to see this work, I really do. Because Golem Metallurgist makes this 3 mana, and it's got 10 attack, I mean, come on. But it's 3 health, it dies to a ton of stuff. Notably though, it does not die to a general attack, to a 2-drop. Most 2-drops do not kill this, so that could be something. I don't know, maybe you could try it out and see, but I think Hailstone Golem's just more consistent. Anyway, Flame Reef. This is absolutely awesome Kalios support, and definitely what was needed for this set. When it's moved for any reason, deals 2 damage to all enemies around it. Kalios' Bloodbound spell is Blink that moves one of your minions up to 2 spaces, so you can summon this on 5 mana and then just blink it to the space that deals damage to all enemies. It also deals damage to the generals, so that's really good. And yeah, you can just sort of mini AoE your opponent with this. Very, very strong card. If you teleport this with Juxtaposition, it also procs. If you teleport this with Mist Dragon Seal, it also procs. And yeah, there's just so many good ways that you can run with this. This and Onyx Jaguar will be hilarious. Too bad I don't have those right now. And a Prismatic, okay. This is going to be dusted, I think, because I don't like this card that much. But Rip Vitruvian. So if they, you know, this gets summoned and doesn't get immediately answered. 4 mana 3/2 is shite. Magma doesn't really need that sort of thing. You can't use Flash Reincarnation with this, which is on purpose. But whenever your opponent summons a minion, this summons an egg of itself nearby. The egg will hatch into another one of these, and so it could snowball, but is very unlikely to. I don't know. This card is not very good because it's at 4 mana, but I guess if you really want to try and run it, I mean, it does kind of force your opponent to remove it before they can summon stuff. I can't see it being good though, because it needs to be too close to the opponent to be effective. And if the opponent just plays a spell that gets rid of it, like Tempest from Lionheart just destroys this immediately, I don't see it being any good. Having a little bit of lag on my opening stuff here, but that's okay. Probably nothing too different out of this. Prismatic is good here. Actually, we haven't seen either of these yet. Sunrise Cleric is a very easy way to generate Hallowed Ground. So you could go ahead and on turn 1 you could play Sunrise Cleric and the Sanctity card, I think it was, to make this a 2/4 and summon 2 Hallowed Ground on turn 1. Really, really nice for the Swarm stuff. I think that could see some play. And then we've got Primal Ballast, is kind of like Chromatic Cold, except like 500 times worse. But it could be better at the same time in certain cases. Dispel a Space, different from Dispel a Minion or Dispel a General. This can work on stuff like spell shielded enemies, like Mechazor, that can't actually get dispelled by, you know, any spell like Siphon Energy that does stuff that way. Or it can't get targeted by Natural Selection, that sort of thing. So you dispel a space, and if there's a minion there, you give it +2/+2. So it can buff your own stuff if you've got negative effects. It can be kind of okay with things like Dagona and I don't know, Unstable Leviathan or something, I guess. Spirit Harvester maybe, if you don't want the damage anymore. The problem is, like, if you use it on an enemy, then it just buffs them and it makes it harder for you to remove them. If you use it on one of your own minions, then what's the point, right? It can dispel the enemy general, which is okay. I just don't know. I can't see it fitting into any deck, which maybe that's just me, a limitation on me, but I just don't see it. Which is fine. Not every card has to be for me. Alright, we got anything new in here? Nope. So that's gonna happen as you get further in. There are only 90 odd cards, so if you only get rares and stuff, this is a good looking pack. If you only get rares and stuff, you are gonna start seeing the same thing come up. Yeah, so all of those we've already seen, and then... Oh, I don't think I like this card. Destroy a friendly minion and deal its attack to the enemy general. So this is amazing if you've got Deathfire Crescendo. Spoilers, I don't, but you know, that's not the point. It's 5 mana, which is a little bit on the pricey side, but most of the time Swarm Abyssian is going to be basically making their swarm for the first 2 or 3 turns, and then, you know, trying to capitalize on it as soon as it, you know, at that point. And that's at the 5 mana turn. So if you've played Deathfire Crescendo previously, and the opponent hasn't been able to remove the minion that you played it on, this is a game ender. This will just wreck your opponent in one shot. But I don't know if it's consistent enough to actually run in a deck, because it requires Deathfire Crescendo to be any good. Unless you played this with the Golem, and then the Golem just... that's like 9 mana, but 10 damage... I don't know. That'd be funny, but I don't see it being that amazing. Oh wow, this is a pack. So 2 rares, an epic and a legendary. Really good. We do get another interesting card here. Oh, and I wanted one of these too, so that's good. Alright, Firestorm Mantra. I really didn't like this card when it first came out, but the more that I see from this set, the more that I want to build a deck with this. Steal health from the enemy general equal to twice the number of spells cast this turn. It should include itself in that, because it is a spell, obviously. If you can generate enough cheap spells to run 2 or 3 spells in the same turn as this, then you're going to steal a lot of health. And it's stealing health instead of just dealing damage. So that separates it from Spiral Technique, which is good. I don't know, I think if you had enough stuff like the Rock Adapter and whatnot, and maybe if you play Adjudicator so you can reduce the cost of your spells, this could genuinely see some play. Mana Vortex would be quite nice with this. You just have to watch your hand size. That's the only problem. It's like a massive combo card, and I think it has to have the entire deck built around it. I'm not sure if it's actually that good, but it's interesting, and that's what counts. And speaking of interesting, oh, if you've got Keeper Varth in mind, oh god, this card. Both players put all minions in their action bar onto the battlefield nearby their general for 7 mana. Oh, Magmar's got so many good cards that they can run with this. You've got loads and loads and loads of high drops that you can run. I mean, if you put Mercantor down with this, it's got Rush, you could play that into it. There's Juggernaut is really strong. You've got the new Grandmaster that is absolutely fucking insane, and that's 9 mana, so that works with this. Silphar Elder works with this. There's a lot of neutral stuff that you could probably run with this as well. It's nuts. It gives your opponent all the stuff too, though, which is the interesting part. It really just makes it an all-out war. But Keeper Varth is a deck that tends to keep its hand size quite high because it plays a ton of high cost cards, and if your opponent is playing a normal sort of deck, by the time you get to drop this, they're only going to have maybe 1 or 2 cards in hand, and you're going to get way more out of this than they will. I think it's a fantastic card, but it's going to have a deck built around it, and I need a few more cards before I can do that. But I think it's really cool. It's going to actually make a new deck type, I think, which is good. Looks like nothing too great out of this one. Luminous Charge actually is really good. So, I believe this is a new wall. Yeah, because it's something that hasn't been in the game before. Summon 5 joined 0/1 walls that deal 2 damage to nearby enemies when destroyed. This is surprisingly good, even though it's 5 mana, because you can surround your opponent in 1 card. And surround their general, and they can't move, and they just take a ton of damage off it, and yeah, it's really strong. 5 mana is a lot, but Vannar is the ramp faction, so they can get to 5 mana quite easily. And Ghost Seraphim is also a thing that can make this cost 0 for the turn, so you play Ghost Seraphim on 7 mana, and then you can just play this immediately. I wanted more expensive spells for Vannar because Ghost Seraphim had like Frostburn and that was about it, really. And this is definitely the sort of thing I would play. Play this with Blistering Scorn and you deal 10 damage to everything in like a reasonable area. Not everything's going to take 10 damage obviously, but you deal a lot of damage at a reasonable point. Surround the enemy general, Blistering Scorn, that's a 9 mana play, and all of these get destroyed and they deal a ton of damage. Very good. I don't know, I like it. I think it'll build a new deck type. It's a nice epic in here. Anything new out of these? Sandswirl Reader is new. So this card is one of the best in the set, actually. 5 mana is quite expensive for a 3/4, but you return a nearby minion to its action bar. So that's Hailstone Prison, 2 mana spell from Vannar, and that space gets turned into the Exhuming Sand tile that summons the Dervish when you play a minion from your hand. Important to note that it's from your hand actually, because that means that you don't get to play, you don't get the Dervish when you play an Obelisk and summon something with that. But this is removal that also creates more minion tiles, which is really good. So yeah, I think that is I think most people think this is absolutely phenomenal. And, well, Lionar Swarm support. I don't know what to think about this one. I don't quite have all the tools to play Lionar Swarm right now, but I'm nearly there, so I could definitely do it. Up to 4 minions get +2/+2. For 3 mana. Not sure what I think about that one, really. It seems okay, but it also seems slightly expensive when you've got War Surge that gives all minions that you've got. Okay, it's only +1/+1 for 2 mana, but it's anywhere on the board, and I think that is a little bit stronger overall because it's hard to place your minions in the 2x2 and actually see them, see good use out of it. But maybe with like Shuro Puppy Dragon and stuff like that, this could be okay. It does give health too, which is quite important. Maybe it'll see play. I'm not sure. So another legendary, pretty good. I've had like 6 of these by now, which is kind of fun. And our legendary is probably the memeiest card in existence. Okay, not quite, but one of the memeiest cards in existence. You have to gimp yourself with an entire subset of effects here. And we're not at the stage where we can do Reno decks at the moment. But Alabaster Titan, 7 mana, 5/7. If you have no spells in your deck, equip a full set of equipment. I'm not actually sure exactly what that means. I know it means equip 3 artifacts, but I don't know if it's a preset artifact count, like which ones it is, or say it could be Arclight Regalia, Halo Bulwark, and Sunstone Braces, say, because that's all like equipment, or maybe it is just random and it can be from any of them. So you could, I don't know, it's hard to say. The effect is insane, but I still don't think it's any good. I don't know. I mean, it's 7 mana, you've got to gimp yourself of like one thing, one set of cards entirely. It means you can't play Trinity Oath, it means you can't play, like Tempest, you can't play Sunbloom, you can't play any of the strong cards, you can't play the Aperian's Claim that I had before, because you can't guarantee you're going to draw them. And it's at 7 mana, which is really, really expensive. I don't see it being any good. I don't know. It's just, nah. But it's funny, and that's one of the cool things about, you know, mean cards like that, right? We do have a new one here, Soul Piercer. So, this is a weird one. It's a 3/4 for 4, which is not great. That's 3 drop stats, but when it's within range of your general, it has ranged, so it can attack anywhere on the board. The problem is, Lionar as a faction wants to be in your opponent's face. But maybe, just maybe, something like this could actually change that. Where instead of going right up in their opponent's space all the time, you mostly use Lionar spell removal type stuff, and then use the Soul Piercers to hit them at range. Might be a thing. I don't know. I think it's too expensive, but it's okay. This is really good. This is going to be an absolute staple in most Songhai decks. Probably not in the ones that I have built at the moment, actually, but it's really good. 1/3 Arcanist for 2 mana. The Arcanist is important because it synergizes with stuff like Kindling to buff when you play spells. Backstab of only 1, so it's weak, but if it backstabs, it steals a spell from the opponent's deck. They don't get the spell in their deck anymore. That is so good, like unbelievably good. Songhai often has a hard time maintaining card advantage because all of their stuff is like cheap combo type stuff, and this will just really help that out. Miss Dragonseal with this is just so strong. I really like the idea of this card. The Arcanist might become a problem, but we'll see. I think that'll see play in almost every deck, so there you go. 2 rares, probably not going to get anything too special out of this one, but let's just see. Yep, nothing new in there. So what else are we going to get? Another Epic, which is pretty good. Nothing new there. This is new. So I mentioned the Primal Flourish cards before. Most of the Primal Flourish cards for Magma are actually epics, so kind of haven't seen any yet. But essentially, it's a grow +2/+2 tile. So if you're standing on if your minion is standing on the tile at the start of your turn, then it will get +2/+2. Moloki Huntress is going to be so good with this set. But this is a solid 4/5 for 4 mana that gives you a Primal Flourish tile under a minion. It's good. Good card. And another Congregation. Okay, so the game is wanting me to play Swarm Lionar at some point. We'll have to see if that happens. Nice, another Legendary. Gotten good pull rates off of this so far. This is actually new. So, restore 2 health to your general for each friendly minion. Clearly it's a Swarm support card, and there are enough ways that this can work that I think it's alright. But it's not something you're going to play a ton of. You might only play 1 or 2 copies of this. And honestly, I think it's maybe too much of a tempo loss. Because, okay, you could easily, in a Lionar deck, you could easily heal for 10 or maybe 12 health with this. But you're out of cards in hand. I don't know. I'm not sold on this being amazing, but it could be pretty strong if you have the right build for it. And the legendary this time is Doom! Doom. Alright, so 9 mana spell. There's another 9 cost legendary in this set as well, but it's the first 9 mana spell, and your opponent dies after 3 turns that you play it. Costs your entire turn to play, and you've got to be able to stall out the rest of the game. There's enough removal in Abyssian that I think this could work, but I think it's going to be very difficult to actually make it work. Maybe this could be like an ultimate win con for Variax or something. I don't know. I have a hard time seeing how this is going to work, but at the same time, people are going to build a deck around this, and you are going to lose to it on occasion. Could be okay. So what do we got in the next one? We have, Epic and a Legendary. Fancy. Nothing amazing out of there. We have ourselves another Firestorm Mantra, so that's good. And Oblivion Sickle. Whenever your general destroys an enemy, turn that space into Exhuming Sand. So, I don't know. It's only 1 mana, which is really good. This could be okay with Saj. because if you play this with Wildfire Ankh, then her Bloodborne spell doubles damage to minions, so this could be a decent AoE for that. I'm not sure. There are some ways that this can work, but I don't know if it's really what you need. Honestly, I kind of prefer Thunderclap, even though that's 4 mana, but I could see this being a one-of. I play a one-of Thunderclap in my Sarge deck. Maybe I'll try a one-of of this as well. Unfortunately, this is going to weaken Ortash's gifts a little bit, so I might try it instead of that card, actually. Because that card is getting weaker with every one of these that seems to come out. Alright, just rares in this one, so probably nothing different. Oh no, there is. Okay. I like this more than I should. There's actually 2 new cards here. I like this a little bit more than I should, but that's only because I see way too freaking much Bangle High right now, and the other Vitruvian decks actually I've seen quite a lot of, even Xerix ones playing like Windstriker and stuff, so there's potential for this. 1 mana spell for Vitruvian that steals an enemy artifact and equips it for yourself. Arclight Regalia is going to get destroyed by this. Magmar doesn't tend to play artifacts, Vanar doesn't tend to play artifacts, so against those factions it's a bit of a dead weight, although Magmar might actually change that soon. But yeah, there's some potential for this. Songhai always plays artifacts, whether it's Blood Rage Mask or Crescent Spear. Crescent Spear is not that great for Vitruvian, but still could be useful if you play Bone Swarm. Yeah, Vanar does actually have a couple of good ones. I've seen White Asp on occasion. You would definitely like that as Vitruvian. Magmar could play a couple of artifacts. Lionar almost always plays Arclight Regalia, so that's really good. And Vitruvian plays a ton of other artifacts, so it could be a good anti-Vitruvian card in Vitruvian. You know, it's kind of a thing. Then we get to what is probably the strongest of the Sentinels, at least in Vanar. I actually think the Mind Cage Oni is the strongest one, but this is a very close second. So, when your enemy general attacks, this becomes a ranged attacker. Not a lot of attack on this, actually goes down to attack, but when it attacks, it summons a Flying Drake token. A 4/4 flying gets summoned every time this attacks. Yeah. It's really good. Because when the enemy general attacks, that is the condition to make this. That is always gonna happen. That's stupid strong, actually. It's the only thing with it is that one attack. But I guess if you're playing Half Sister anyway, then you can sort of bait out between this and the Moonlit Basilisk one. Or, you know, there's a lot of, like, all of the Vanar ones are really good, so there's not really much of a way of knowing which one that's going to be until it triggers. So I think just because of that, it's really good. Oh hey, even in the commons we still have a card I haven't seen yet. Alright, so, Bound Tormentor even, not Blood Tormentor. When the opponent summons a minion, you steal it, no, don't steal it, but you copy it, and it costs 2 less in your hand. Well, Abyssian has issues with card maintenance at the best of times, and being able to steal one of your opponent's really strong minions and make it cost less is very good. Being able to steal one of their cheap minions and make it cost 0 is also really good. There's a lot of ways that this works. And I think it's just neat, you know? This is probably going to see play in most Abyssian decks. It's good enough for that, I think. And, oh, a Prismatic. Okay, so this card is shite, but it's a Prismatic, so I can turn this into any other legendary I want. Right. 8 mana 7/5 for Vanar, which makes minions unable to attack your general. Meh, is all I can say. So, it can kill a lot of minions, but it doesn't have the health to survive many battles. And you will still get counter-attacked if you attack with your general. And yeah, it just dies way too quickly. This card is not very good, but that's fine, because Vanar's already got Grandmaster Embler, which is really good at 8 mana, so they don't need another card at this stage. So, happy enough to see that. And again, it's prismatic, so I can turn that into whatever I want. Probably nothing out of this pack, but we'll see. I mean, more Dust Sweep is good. Yeah, nothing different there. Man, we're only halfway through. I suppose that's what happens when you get a lot of legendaries and stuff. A couple of new epics, so hopefully we'll get something new out of that. We haven't seen this one yet. War Adjudicated. It's actually my third copy of this because I opened 2 earlier. It's Aegis Barrier for your nearby friendly minions. Cannot be targeted by enemy spells. Very, very good against Abyssian if you can Aegis Barrier this as well. So put this on 5 mana and it's really good. This is good for Swarm, which I think I've said a heck of a lot in this this video so far. Swarm decks for Lionheart seem to be getting a ton of love in this set. I like it. It's really well statted. Again, doesn't die to Lava Slasher. And yeah, it's just strong. What else can you really say? Should see some good play. Unlike this thing. Alright, this I'm actually going to have to mess my layout up for a bit. So, third Firestorm Mantra. Okay, this used to be called Party Elf. And I apologize that my layout is about to go all messed up for a sec. Because I need to actually have the web page open for this. Because this card has tokens associated with it that are thing. So, 6/6 provoke for 6. It's okay. I mean, the provoke is always good at that level. Each player summons 3 Spriggan Kin nearby their general. The Spriggan Kin are Glub for 1 mana. It's a 1 mana 1/1. They have to have a mana cost because if they get bounced back to your hand, then that's a thing. But they're all 1 mana. So Glub is a 1/1. Whenever a Spriggan is destroyed, this minion gains +3/+3. Meh, that's shite. Binky Boy. Binky is a 2/1 flying that whenever this damages a minion, restore 2 health to your general. Meh, that's pretty shite. Zeta is a 2/3 with Frenzy. That's actually really good. That's the one that you'd want. And Moro, with its really cute open mouth thing, actually. Shame I can't show that. But as long as there is a Spriggan, this minion has +3 attack. It's a 0/3 by itself. Meh. None of them are any good except Zeta. You're giving your opponent 3 minions, and it's just shite. I don't know why you would play this. Actually, I take that back. There is one reason why I could see you would play this, and that is to play it with Phantasm, to buff something else in your hand. But that's like an 8 mana play. There is no way this sees play at that. There are so many other better things that you can do. I don't know. I can't see this being any good. Maybe somebody will make it work, and I'll be, eating my hat on it. Not that I wear a hat, but I've eaten it anyway. But I just don't see it. I don't see it being that good. But hey, that's what other people are for, right? To build stuff that I can't. Lots of rares in this pack, which is quite good, because I think I've already got all the commons I would need at this stage. Bombard is new. 6 mana, reactivate your minions with ranged. It's terrible, but it has one use, and that is if you manage to accrue a lot of Heartseekers on the board, then, because the Heartseekers from Reaver's Bloodbound spell are 1 mana 1/1 range units, right? So if you can accrue quite a lot of those, then maybe you could see some use out of this. But that's not going to happen, let's be honest here. And then Bloodsworn Gambler. Speaking of ranged minions, this card is probably going to be super annoying in Gauntlet, but I don't see it otherwise. 4 mana 2/3 ranged, Each time this minion attacks, there's a 50% chance to attack again. When it does, it attacks a random enemy. I don't know. I'm not feeling it, but it depends when it goes off. Like, I don't know if this minion was provoked, then, and it died from the provoke, would it still have the chance to do the damage? These are the questions that we ask ourselves, right? I don't know, it's not got enough health, really. If it was 2/4, then maybe I'd play it. Just for kicks. Arrow Whistler could make this +1 attack, and I mean, if you buff this guy, then it could be quite strong. But it's too much of an investment, and it doesn't really do anything, to be honest. Far better cards that you could play, I think. Alright, nothing special out of this one, so we'll probably just get to move right on. Bound Torment is good. Lava Storm, we've seen these already, so no need to dwell on that pack. Another legendary and an epic, so good pack here. We'll see. I've mentioned this guy before, but I think he's quite good. Just a vanilla 1/5. This is one of the Primal Flourish cards I was talking about. Your minions on friendly Primal Flourish grow. Turn your other minion spaces into Primal Flourish. So if you've already got something on a tile, then you'll get a +2/+2 buff for it. Otherwise, everything else that you play, that you've got down on the board, gets that grow tile underneath it. It's strong. There is a Starhorn deck which is already zoo based, and this will definitely help that out. This is a strong card. I definitely think we'll see a deck built around this. And then the legendary is Letigris! Yay! Congrats to her for getting the card here. So, her card's actually pretty good. It's a little bit expensive, but it's pretty good. So, 2/6 ranged is quite nice, and whenever your general attacks, you put a Saberspine Cub on the board next to Letigris, which is a 2/1 rush. So, that's pretty strong. It's a range minion that kind of wants to be sort of within range, but that's okay because it is 6 health, which is really, really strong for a range minion. Like, even at 5 mana 6 health is actually really good regardless. Most minions don't get to that. So to have ranged and still be an okay attacker? Yeah, I like this a lot. I don't think it's quite got the same answer or die potential that some of the other 5-drops and whatnot do, but I think it's good enough that you could see this being played. This with Arrow Whistler could be okay. So then the next pack, we have nothing too special, so let's just open this up and see. Another Reassemble is quite good, but other than that, yep, I think we've got a playset of those by now, so that's fine. Another Epic, which is quite good. So let's see what... Oh, we got Spiral Counter too, that's pretty good. Another Bloodsworn, whatever. Spiral Counter, the ultimate in meme technology, I guess. I don't know, no it's not obviously, but it's really, really strong, but also kind of just ridiculous at the same time. Deal 8 damage to an enemy minion that attacked last turn. Spiral Counter is an obvious play on Spiral Technique, which is the 8 mana Pyroblast basically, deal 8 damage to anything. This is insane actually, because a lot of the times Songhai has a lot of trouble trying to deal with really high health minions, stuff like Ironcliff Guardian, like well, I mean, I guess that's the main one. Primus Shieldmaster can be kind of annoying. Anything that's got more than about 4 health is really difficult for Songhai to deal with. And this is a 1 mana card that can wipe out anything that hit you before. But it is delayed, like rather delayed. So that can be a bit of a problem, because you've got to hold it in your hand. And yeah, that could be kind of tough, but being able to just nuke a minion, like even just playing one of this, I think 1 or 2 of this as a cheap nuke is crazy good. I don't know. I'm willing to test it out. I think it could be fun. Another legendary. We've had a lot of legendaries off of this, which is pretty good. I opened about 20 something packs before this, and I got about 5 or 6 legendaries. I think it was 5. So. Another Doom. Okay, so I guess I'm building a Doom deck at some point then. That could be interesting. Alright, 3 rares. That's okay. Yeah, we did have like 6 packs at the start where we only had 1 rare in the pack though. So I guess it sort of swings and roundabouts, right? Sandswell Reader's good. I think that's my playset for these now, because I had one of those for my earlier packs. So that's quite good. Yeah, see, then we're just getting rares in these, which is fine, because there's a lot of decent rares here. Prismatic Blood Rage to Dust, Sinister Silhouette could be okay, so maybe I might try and build that into a vet deck. I was really hoping to get the Trigon Obelisk, but I don't think I'm going to get that without crafting. More Bombard. More ballast. Yeah, nothing different in that one. That's the sort of thing you expect when you've opened like 50 packs of this set by now. 2 epics, which is good. I haven't had very many epics at all. I've had more legendaries than I've had epics, so I'm happy enough to see that. We haven't seen this guy yet. Quahog. 5 mana 7/7 that enemy minions destroyed by it are returned to their action bar. It's a big beater, and the main problem with big beaters in this game is that the board exists, so the enemy can just kind of kite around them a lot of the time, and that's not great. I can imagine Mecantor swinging into this and then just going back into the hand and you sad face. It's good if the opponent's full on cards, but I don't see that happening very often. This is definitely a target for Primal Ballast, however. Making this a 9/9 for 7 mana, it's EMP basically, so maybe not that great, but like make it a 9/9 and dispel its effect. It's okay. My third congregation, so it's definitely telling me, hey Doofus, build a Lionar Swarm deck. Might have to craft the stuff for that, and a Prismatic +1. Right, so this is getting dusted for sure. I don't care for Prismatics at all. It's just a slightly glowy effect when you put them on the board. Whoa, what is this? 4 epics in one pack. Wow. Never seen that before. So we have ourselves Thunderhorn, one of the best cards in the set for sure. A 4 mana 4/5 that whenever this minion damages an enemy, it also damages all joined enemies. Holy hell, this card. This is potentially a new staple 4-drop for everyone. So, it counts diagonals, and this is your absolute anti-swarm card. If you're getting wrecked by Swarm Abyssian all the time, play this and you will be golden. This is something that you can play around though, because you can disconnect your minions around this thing, and that can work out quite nicely. But this card is so good. At 4 attack, it's really strong by itself, but it's not possible to use Inner Focus with this, which is by design. That's really good. You know, just that would make it ridiculously broken, so that's fine. It will do more damage if you buff it, so this would be fantastic for stuff like Greater Fortitude, or Thumping Wave would be insane with this. So that's kind of good. It's going to force your opponent to play around it, which is fun to say the least. I don't know, this card is ridiculous. And then we have Glacial Fissure, speaking of ridiculous cards. This is maybe a 1-tech in like the first Vanar deck I'd build for the expansion. 3 mana, deal 8 damage to everything in the center column. The fuck? This was the very first card revealed for the set, and immediately it made me go, oh my god, what is happening here? This is mostly a counter to player 2 turn 2, because against Vanar, you're going to be much less likely to try and take the tiles now. So that's a bit of a counter to that. It's stopping you from immediately going to the center, and yeah, you'll just get swung for 8 if you do that. So yeah, strong card for sure, but very, very situational. It's going to be hard to play, but I still think it could be good. Endure the Beastlands. This is the, what is it called? Shadow Nova for Primal Flourish. It's nice to get a Prismatic one too. Yeah, 3 mana instead of 4, turn the 2/2 area to Primal Flourish. Even if you can't play a minion down on that same turn, this is still okay. I think the other card was better, the 4 mana one. I think that's slightly stronger, but just being able to turn any space into this. Remember, the tiles will override each other, so if the opponent is playing, say, Shadow Creep, then you can remove some of the Shadow Creep by playing this down. It's actually a pretty cool way of thinking about it, so that's neat. And then a 4 Firestorm Mantra, so that has to get disenchanted, but that's fine. Nice to get some of the fun cards for that. So yeah, we're down into the last 10 packs. Oh, we have been in that. Nothing new there, so no need to persist on that pack. Probably nothing new here either. Let's see if there's anything I want though. I think I have more than enough of these by now. It's nice to get another one of those though, for the flying backstab stuff. Alright, back to the basic packs here, which is fine. We've had a lot of really good packs, so I can't really complain anymore, to be honest. Sandswell Reader's good anyway, so yeah, I can't exactly complain. I've had a ton of really, really strong packs in recent builds and whatnot, so my computer's slightly struggling here, opening too many of these things by now. That's fine. Yeah, there's some good cards in here. We already have all of them that I need off it though. Legend. Wow, the one of everything. Legendary, epic, and a rare. So, yep, I've had a lot of these by now, which is good. Superior Mirage. I got one of these before. This card is nuts. This card might actually be one of the best spells of the set. 5 mana Vitruvian spell. Summon 3 copies of an enemy minion nearby it. They disappear when attacked. If you have a rush minion out, as in your opponent has a rush minion out, you play this. I don't know where they spawn. I think you get the choice of spawn, but if it's random that might make it slightly more annoying, but it doesn't say random on the card. So assuming you get the choice of this is ridiculous. Even if you don't get the choice of this, it's still pretty good. They don't disappear when they attack, they disappear when they get attacked. But they'll still do damage before disappearing, right? So if the opponent, say Abyssian, plays Spectral Revenant, you play this, you summon 3 copies of that Spectral Revenant. It'll be damaged, but that doesn't matter. And you just wreck your opponent for it. Absolutely insane. Like, this card is good even if it doesn't hit rush stuff, but if it does, then oh my god, this card is busted as all hell. Really, really like it. And another Litigris. Okay, so I guess I need to build a Litigris deck at some point. Having 2 of them now. I haven't really tried to build much of a ranged deck in a while, so that could be interesting. So anything... I don't think there's anything new here. I'm pretty sure I've got at least one of every rare and every common in the set by now. I'd be really surprised if I don't have a playset of like every common after all the packs I've opened. So anything useful? Sanctify's pretty okay. It's the playset of Sinister Silhouette there as well. Lots of rares, but not much else. Anything good? I mean, Mind Cage only would have been good if I didn't get like 8 of them already. Drop Lift is kind of a thing. Mana Shaper's pretty good. And then our last orb. We're gonna get anything good off of this one? Oh yes, we are. Epic and a legendary for the final orb. So this started out really bad, and then it's turned out fantastic as we've gone along. Another Firestorm Mantra, 5 of that, it's kind of crazy. And another Matron. Okay, so turned out not great at the end of it, as far as, you know, getting new stuff, but that's fine. I have 4 copies of this in total now. All of them are getting dusted. It's going to be really good for my spirit stuff. This is going to be something that's just really good. So I guess I can very quickly, this has gone on way too long anyway, but very quickly just filter up to show the new stuff. So you can see a lot of the things that I have here. Some of these are ones I already had, but you know, this prismatic is going to get dusted, which is fine. I don't know how many other ones I've got actually. Let's just do it by the Unearthed Prophecy thing. Do it that way rather than you, because some of these I didn't already, you know, I clicked on already. So, alright, so we've got a playset of Fortified Assault, which is good. That means I can dust this one. Obviously, a lot of these are going to get dusted soon, which is fine. 14 of those. I can dust the Prismatic one because I don't care about that. So a lot of commons to get stuff. This is one I didn't get in the packs here, but got earlier. Summon a friendly non-token minion destroyed this game onto friendly hallowed ground. I don't think this is going to be good enough because it's random. It's the same as Keeper of the Veil, which I guess is where it got its name from, oh-ho. I don't see this being good enough, to be honest. I just don't think that you're going to be able to play only high-cost cards and still get Hallowed Ground out. Because if you play this, and then this gets brought back, you've just, you know, like that's just not going to work. And it's not like there's actually a graveyard for this stuff. So, this was another one that I got earlier and didn't get just now. It's one I really like actually, but I think it's going to get gimped way too hard. Friendly minions nearby your general have Force Field for 5 mana. That Force Field is super oppressive. Like, that could be very, very good. But I just don't know if it's going to be good enough. I mean, if I'm going to build Swarm Lionar anyway, I'll tech it in and I'll see if I can make it work. But, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. Here, only 1 Spiral counter out of, what have I opened now? 72 packs I think I've opened in total? Somewhere like that? Yeah, because I had like 1200 gold as well. Yeah, 72 packs, I only got 1 Spiral counter. It's ridiculous. Scroll Bandit, definitely want to craft a couple more of those. We've got Twilight Reiki was another one I didn't get in the stuff here. 3 Songhai minions into your action bar for 5 mana, and they all cost 1 less. This is a lot better than it looks, actually, because, okay, you're spending 5 mana to not really do anything for that turn, but you get 3 minions that are discounted that aren't from your deck, so you can get new strategy stuff there. And most Songhai minions are at least passable. There are a couple which are really bad, like Ace, and I guess you could get Heartseeker, but even then that's a 0 mana Heartseeker, that's not terrible. You could get a lot of really, really good stuff with this. The Eternity Painter, something I didn't actually get here, would be super strong being pulled from this. Yeah, lots of cool things that you could get out of that. Lots and lots and lots of Mindcage Oni, definitely good to see some of them for dusting. Might be disenchanting one for the Energy Amulet, I'll see how good it actually is. Lots of Firestorm Mantra to disenchant, so that's fine. Yeah, Prismatic Lava Storm is something I got before, I can dust that now because I've got the regular one. Oblivion Sickle's kind of interesting. Yeah, Superior Mirage is so good. I might actually replace Star's Fury with this. It seems that good. Lots of interesting stuff for Abyssian. This is one I didn't get just now but got earlier. I actually really, really like this card, but I don't have the cards to play Dying Wish right now. I think that is one I'm going to build towards once I've crafted what I want out of this set, is to work towards a Dying Wish, like a Lurking Fear Abyssian, because I think it's really good now. 4 mana 4/2 is expensive, but Lurking Fear can cut the cost of this down, and you draw 2 minions out of your deck with Dying Wish. Abyssian is the class that's got like Vorpal Reaver, Klaxon, Reaper of the Nine Moons, all fantastic Dying Wish cards. There was a big fish that we didn't get, Dagona, that is Dying Wish, that works really well with this. So many good cards that you can get from that. So between that and Swarm, this is, I think the Abyssian stuff here is what I need to work towards at some point soon. And of course Doom, Doom, because, you know, I'm keeping that though, that could be good. We didn't get the Magma Grandmaster, unfortunately. I'll need to make that myself. That card is freaking nuts, so I definitely want to try and make it. Otherwise, yeah, Omniseer got a lot of those before opening packs, so that was fine that I didn't get too many of them. 10 Blood Rage. Still, fuck this card. I really don't like that card's existence. Yeah, Verdant Fulmination, that's the card. This is quite good. So that's pretty neat. And then we have the Vanar stuff. Shivers is one that I didn't get before, didn't get just now, but got earlier. It's slightly better Crystal Wisp, I guess. It's a bit more situational, but it has flying, and then Infiltrate is when it's on the enemy side of the board. So if you play this turn 1, that's going to be pretty good. And you ramp a mana when it attacks. This with Boundless Courage would be quite fun, because then it doesn't die, but it also doesn't work on counter attack, so maybe not quite so good. But if it doesn't get killed immediately, this is better than Crystal Wisp for sure, because the flying means it can just go to the opponent's side of the field real easily. Lots of Moonlit Basilisk, and then yeah, look at all these matrons here. Oh, I've only got the 2 of them. Well, whatever, they're all getting dusted, they're all terrible. This is a fucking amazing card that I didn't get just now, but again got earlier. Choose a minion, transform all minions near it into copies of it. If I had Gravity Well, this would be busted as fuck, but I don't, so I don't know yet. But imagine putting Gravity Well around a Spectral Revenant or a Macantor or something that way, and then using Flawless Reflection on with the 9 mana stuff. Or if you put Ghost Seraphim down, then this becomes 0 mana for a turn. Imagine that. That's like, this card has so many amazing applications. and I can't wait to see how it ends up playing out. And then for the neutral stuff, we got a lot of this guy. This guy's getting dusted though. I don't think this is any good. Only 4 of these, which is interesting. Thunderhorn, definitely want to craft another couple of those. And yeah, Latigris is kind of cute for, you know, just the high health ranged is quite nice. And Spriggan's bad. This is another one that I didn't get just now, but it's really good. This is the first legendary I got from this set actually, but this is one I'd only play one of unless I'm playing a dedicated replace deck. Basically, it's Reload from Yu-Gi-Oh! Replace each card in your hand. This triggers replace effects like Wings of Paradise and White Widow, so that's really strong. If you have White Widow down and you replace like 5 cards, you're dealing 10 damage across the enemy board. That's nuts. Wings of Paradise gets like plus 10 attack off of this, so there's some really good combos you can do with this, but more than that, you could play this as a one-off because the stats are really strong, and if your hand is terrible, like if you're playing a Keeper deck or something, you might just want to play this. It's actually really good. So that's it. There are quite a few cards that we didn't get to talk over here because I didn't pull them, but I know this video has gone on way too long as it is. This is like an hour and a half long or something, just opening the packs and whatnot. But I figured I would do this just now because I don't know, I thought it'd be fun. So hopefully you have enjoyed seeing the new cards. We'll try and see some of them in action. I mean, I want to stream a little bit of this, even though it's an unpopular game for me to stream, but maybe I'll try and do some video stuff on it once I've gotten a bit of a grounding in the set. I definitely need to play a lot more than I did because I pretty much need more spirit and stuff from this set. So yeah, I need to make all the stuff from here. So we'll see how that goes. Anyway, thank you for watching, and until next time, take care. Bye bye.